Making headlines this hour, the non-resident ambassadors of the Republic of the Philippines, the Kingdom of the Netherlands, and the Republic of France to the Maldives respectively presents their letter of credence to President Dr. Mohamed Muizzu. Maldives Post signs as the main sponsor of public service media's special coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026. Managing Director of Fenaka Corporation Limited Mohammad Afif Hussain states procurement processes at the corporation will henceforth be governed by robust policies to prevent past errors.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Hello and welcome to PSM News in English with me, Mariam Shawshat. President Dr. Mohamed Muizzu sends a message of condolence to President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. following the powerful earthquake that struck off the coast of Mindanao on 8th June.
In his message, President Muizzu expressed profound sorrow over the disaster, which resulted in the loss of lives and injuries to many people. On behalf of the government and the people of the Maldives, the President conveyed his deepest condolences to President Marcos, the government, and the people of the Philippines. He also extended heartfelt sympathies to the families and loved ones of those who lost their lives in the earthquake. Concluding his message, President Muizzu expressed his sincere wishes for the success of ongoing recovery and relief efforts in the affected areas. According to the Philippines authorities, at least 37 people were killed after a powerful 7.8 earthquake struck about 20 kilometers off the coast of Sarangani province in southern Philippines early on 8th June. The earthquake caused extensive damage in several areas, including General Santos City, where buildings were damaged, walls and roofs collapsed, and power supplies were disrupted. The quake also triggered tsunami warnings in several countries across the region. Strong tremors were felt throughout Mindanao and as far as Manado in Indonesia, approximately 420 kilometers from the epicenter. The disaster comes 8 months after a magnitude 6.9 earthquake off the coast of Cebu killed 79 people in the Philippines' deadliest earthquake in more than a decade. 2 additional strong earthquakes struck Mindanao 2 weeks later, including a magnitude 7.4 tremor.
At a ceremony held at the President's office, the non-resident ambassadors of the Republic of Philippines, the Kingdom of the Netherlands and the Republic of France to the Maldives, Nina P. Kaingelet, Weibe Jacob de Boer and Remy Lembach, respectively presents their letters of credence to President Dr. Mohamed Muizzu.
The ambassadors were escorted to the ceremony in a traditional high cultural procession, accompanied by the Maldives National Defense Force MNDF's drum and trumpet band. During separate ceremonies held at the President's office, President Muizzu received the credentials of Remy Lembach, Ambassador of the Republic of France, Jacob de Boer, Ambassador of the Kingdom of the Netherlands, and Nina P. Kaingelet, Ambassador of the Republic of the Philippines. Following the ceremonies, the President held separate meetings with each ambassador to discuss areas of mutual interest and ways to further strengthen bilateral relations. In discussions with the French ambassador, both sides explored cooperation in tourism, maritime affairs, marine protection, climate change, security, and regional stability. President Muizzu and Ambassador Lembach reaffirmed their commitment to deepening the long-standing partnership between the Maldives and France. Diplomatic relations between the two countries were established on 20th May 1969. During talks with the Dutch ambassador, discussions focused on infrastructure development, climate adaptation, and human rights cooperation. President Muizzu highlighted the importance of Dutch support for development projects in the Maldives, while both sides reaffirmed their commitment to enhancing investment opportunities and strengthening bilateral cooperation. Diplomatic relations between the Maldives and the Netherlands were established on 3rd September 1979. Meeting with the Philippine ambassador, President Muizzu discussed matters of mutual interest and cooperation. Ambassador Kaingelet expressed appreciation for the hospitality extended to Filipino nationals living and working in the Maldives. Both sides reiterated their commitment to further strengthening bilateral ties and expanding cooperation in areas of shared interest. Diplomatic relations between the Maldives and the Philippines were established on 12 July 1974. The credential ceremonies and subsequent meetings underscore the Maldives' continued commitment to strengthening diplomatic engagement and cooperation with its international partners.
Maldives Post Sign is the main sponsor of public service media PSM's special coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
The agreement between Maldives Post and PSM was signed during a special ceremony held at the PSM television building to formalize partnerships for the broadcaster's World Cup coverage. The agreement was signed on behalf of PSM by Managing Director Ahmad Shakib, while Deputy Managing Director Shahid Ibrahim signed on behalf of Maldives Post. During the ceremony, agreements were also signed with two organizations appointed as co-sponsors of the coverage. The co-sponsors are Allied Insurance and Maldives Ports Limited MPL. Chief Underwriting Officer Luliana Rusei signed on behalf of Allied Insurance, while Chief Executive Officer Captain Hussein Shafiq signed on behalf of MPL. 5 organizations were also appointed as coverage partners for PSM's World Cup coverage, with agreements signed during the same ceremony. Vice Rector Ali Najib signed on behalf of Villa College, while Chief Operating Officer Sinan Ali signed on behalf of Maldives Transport and Contracting Company MTCC. Director Abdullah Shabin signed on behalf of Island Perfumes, while Chief Executive Officer and Chief Financial Officer Abdullah Miwan Sharif signed on behalf of EZEP. An agreement was also signed with Proxy as a coverage partner. Marketing consultant Ashir Abdul Aziz signed on behalf of the company. PSM officially launched its coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026 on the 18th of May. The tournament, one of the largest sporting events and held every 4 years, will be hosted jointly by the United States, Mexico and Canada. This year's edition will feature 48 national teams, making it the largest FIFA World Cup in history. The tournament will also mark the first time that Maldivians will be able to watch the FIFA World Cup completely free of charge. Through a collaboration between Public Service Media and MediaNet, viewers with the MediaNet connection will be able to access PSM's World Cup broadcast without any charges. PSM said it aims to bring the atmosphere and excitement of the tournament directly to audiences across the Maldives through comprehensive coverage on television, digital platforms, public viewing areas, and large screens across the country. PSM added that the goal is to deliver a memorable World Cup experience tailored to Maldivian audiences and football fans nationwide.
Recent government data from the Ministry of Tourism and Civil Aviation indicates that Australian tourist arrivals in the Maldives have surged, elevating the nation to the 9th largest source of visitors to the island nation.
According to statistics published by the Ministry of Tourism and Civil Aviation, as of 6th June, 20,878 Australian tourists had visited the Maldives, representing a 16% increase compared with the 17,957 Australian arrivals recorded at the close of last year. The growth has propelled Australia into the top 9 source markets for the Maldives, rising from the 10th position just 1 month ago. The broader hierarchy of international arrivals is currently led by China, followed by Russia and the United Kingdom in the 2nd and 3rd positions. European and Asian nations largely round out the leading source of tourism, with Italy ranked 4th, Germany 5th, India 6th, and France 7th. The United States holds the 8th position, while Australia now ranks 9th, placing it just ahead of Switzerland, which completes the top 10. The expanding market coincided with the national carrier Maldivian initiating direct flights operating to Australia last month. The new route connects Malé directly with Melbourne, operating on a once-a-week schedule. Under the current itinerary, outbound flights depart from the Maldives on Sundays, with return flights leaving Australia on Tuesdays, completing an 11-hour journey. Demand for the flights initiated to Australia remains robust, with representatives for Maldivian estimating that 11,000 tourists from the country can be brought to the Maldives within a year.
The Maldives Food and Drug Authority (MFDA) announces that the government has initiated the establishment of a modern National Food Safety Laboratory, a project intended to give the country a fully equipped facility for rapid, detailed testing of imported food items.
Speaking on the PSM News' program Rajya Miyadu, Deputy Minister of Health, Family and Welfare Ismail Zahir said the feasibility report for the laboratory's construction on Hurumale has been completed and architectural drawings are now in progress. Once completed, the laboratory will house state-of-the-art equipment capable of detecting heavy metals, pesticide residues, and other chemical containments, areas that have long demanded sophisticated instruments. Earlier this year, President Dr. Mohammad Muizzu, in his presidential address, promised the installation of such machinery, and Zahir confirmed that the heavy metal and pesticide testing units have already been installed. MFDA Food Safety Assurance Coordinator Khalisa Mohammed said the new laboratory will round off the authority's regulatory duties. According to the MFDA, the Maldives already possesses one of the most comprehensive sets of world-class analytical instruments for food safety testing in the region. Under the Maldives Food Safety Act, the laboratory will be tasked with scientifically analyzing hazardous bacteria and chemical containments and must operate in line with International Good Laboratory Practices (GLP) standards, staffed by trained professionals. The authority said it is now focused on building national technical capacity and finalizing the necessary regulations to ensure the laboratory meets both domestic and international safety benchmarks.
Managing Director of Fenaka Corporation Limited, Mohammad Afif Hussain states procurement processes at the corporation will henceforth be governed by robust policies to prevent past errors.
Internal audits at the Fenaka Corporation shows previous management teams did not adequately scrutinize the procurement of goods for the organization. Fenaka supplies water, electricity, and sewerage services to the northern and the southern Maldives, excluding a few islands. Because operations are highly technical, it must continuously procure equipment to maintain resources, Afif explained, noting that recently this essential work was not executed properly. Operating without diligence caused financial losses in areas where the company could have been profitable. Services were previously obtained from entities failing to meet basic business criteria, Afif noted, making supply uncertain and quality verification difficult, which mismanaged service delivery and inflicted financial damage. To rectify this, he asserted that fundamental revisions must be implemented to ensure strict compliance with public finance regulations. While state-owned enterprises are not legally mandated to adhere to the Public Finance Act, Afif stated that the institutional framework must remain robust to ensure past administration oversights are never repeated. The company is now arranging to import and store necessary spare parts well in advance, Afif stated, adding that a comprehensive solution to these logistical challenges will be achieved upon the completion of Fenaka's new building.
The Maldives Industrial Fisheries Company Limited, MIFCO, announces that they have established the fish purchasing rate at $1.30 per kilogram on 9th June, noting favorable adjustments for fishermen will continue during this period.
A nationwide downturn in fisheries production has contracted catch volumes, driving up market demand. In response, the state corporation initiated progressive pricing adjustments on 7th June when it procured fish at $1.20 per kilogram, a figure officials anticipated would rise. Amid the decline, MIFCO rates have surpassed private enterprise averages. The purchasing rates from fishermen will undergo changes during this period, Muhammad Anas, the managing director of MIFCO, said in an interview with PSM News. The purchasing price is fundamentally dictated by supply and demand, he noted, adding that the cooperation strives to offer the highest rates in alignment with government policies. To maximize profitability, the government is pursuing strategic initiatives, including diversifying fish-based commodities, developing value-added products, fortifying export mechanisms for quality control. Authorities are expanding cold storage infrastructure to ensure local fish products consistently supply international markets during low domestic catches. Officials confirmed that the premium rates will be honored on 9 June at processing facilities in Felivaru, Kudu, and Addu. Procurements will simultaneously occur across regional harbour centres in Tinadu, Fares Matoda, Gaddu, Ihavandu and Formula City.
The Maldives ships 162 tons of cargo to 7 different countries through its sea-to-air cargo service last month. According to statistics released by Maldives Ports Limited MPL, a total of 162 tons of goods equivalent to 20-foot equivalent units TEUs were shipped abroad during May. The cargo was transported to 7 countries via 5 international airlines, which are Qatar Airways, Etihad Airways, Saudi Arabian Airlines, Swiss International Airlines and Turkish Airlines. The sea-to-air model first brings merchandise to the Maldives by sea, then dispatches it to final destinations by air, blending the cost efficiency of maritime freight with the speed of air logistics. The service officially launched on 15th May 2024 is a joint effort between the Maldives Airports Company Limited MACL and MPL, which together have leveraged the country's growing network of international carriers to offer a new trade route that bypasses traditional all-air or all-sea options. Industry officials highlight that sea-to-air cargo is a proven tool in many global markets, delivering significant economic benefits by reducing transit times, cutting shipping costs and expanding market reach for exporters. With the Maldives already served by a broad spectrum of international airlines, the government sees ample room to scale the operation, adding more partner carriers and destination markets in the future. The global airline industry enters a new cycle of operational and financial pressure marked by rising fuel costs linked to the war involving Iran, aircraft shortages, persistent engine problems, and capacity reductions across multiple carriers.
During the annual meeting of the International Air Transport Association IATA in Rio de Janeiro, industry executives warned that the impact of the conflict in the Middle East is likely to continue affecting airline performance throughout 2026. IATA nearly halved its forecast for global airline net profit this year, cutting the estimate from $41 billion to $23 billion. The downgrade comes despite resilient travel demand and expectations that industry revenues will surpass a record of $1.1 trillion. According to IATA Director General Willie Walsh, higher jet fuel prices and disruptions to air routes in the Gulf region were the main drivers behind the revised outlook. The conflict has led to the closure or restriction of key air corridors, forcing airlines to operate longer routes, increasing fuel consumption and putting further pressure on margins in an industry historically sensitive to costs. LATAM Brazil CEO Jerome Carrier said the airline has had to adjust routes downward in response to the significant rise in operating costs. Meanwhile, Oman Air CEO Kon Kofiatis said the airline has seen unprecedented levels of passenger traffic, with airports fuller than ever before, a reflection of the broader demand surge the industry is navigating despite its cost challenges.
The United Nations says it does not accept Israel's closure of crossings into Gaza, warning that civilians depend on a steady flow of humanitarian aid and commercial goods for survival.
UN Deputy Spokesperson Farhan Haq said Israeli authorities closed the Kerem Shalom Karam Abu Salem crossing, the only cargo crossing into Gaza that had been operational over the past 2 weeks, as well as the Gaza crossing following recent missile attacks toward Israel.
Even that one crossing is not open today.
Right.
And regarding that, what I can tell you is that the Secretary General is deeply concerned by the decision to close the Kerem Shalom and Rafah crossings and suspend the entry of supplies into Gaza. He calls for the immediate resumption of humanitarian movements at scale into and throughout Gaza and urges all parties to facilitate the rapid, safe, and unhindered delivery of humanitarian assistance in accordance with their obligations under international law, including international humanitarian law.
Hawk said no crossing points were open as of briefing, though aid distribution was continuing inside Gaza. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres called for the immediate resumption of humanitarian movements at scale into and throughout Gaza, stressing that access must be predictable, sustained, and unimpeded. The UN said civilians and civilian infrastructure continue to face Israeli airstrikes, shelling, and gunfire, and must be protected under international humanitarian law.
Victor Wembanyama delivers a masterclass of 32 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists and 3 blocks as the San Antonio Spurs beat the New York Knicks 115-111 in Game 3 of the NBA Finals, ending New York's 13-game post-season winning streak.
The Knicks still lead the best-of-7 series 2-1, with Game 4 scheduled for Wednesday night in New York. New York's streak was the second longest in NBA postseason history, behind only the 2017 Golden State Warriors, who won their first 15 playoff games en route to the title. The Knicks' last defeat before Monday had come against the Atlanta Hawks on April 23rd. Stephen Castle was equally influential for San Antonio, contributing 23 points, 18 in the first half, before sinking two crucial free throws with 6.8 seconds left to seal the win. Dylan Harper added 13 off the bench, while De'Aaron Fox and Julio Champagne each scored 12, and Devin Vassell chipped in 11. Jalen Brunson led the Knicks with 32 points, but shot just 11 of 25 from the floor. OG Anunoby was sharp with 28 points on 9 of 13 shooting, and Josh Hart added 16. New York held a commanding 46-37 edge on the boards, with Hart grabbing a game-high 9 rebounds. The Spurs led by as many as 12 in the opening quarter and appeared to be cruising before the Knicks closed the half on a blistering 37-19 run to lead 64-57 at the break. San Antonio regrouped in the third, outscoring New York 35-27 to retake the lead, and held firm despite a nervy finish. Brunson and Anunoby hit back-to-back threes in the final 34 seconds to cut the deficit to 113-111 with 9.4 seconds remaining, but Castle's free throw proved decisive.
Italian fashion house Prada unveils the inner layer garment set to be worn by NASA astronauts heading to the moon, underscoring the brand's push to be the first major luxury player to make inroads in the space industry.
The body-hugging suit, created in collaboration with Houston-based space infrastructure developer Axiom Space, features ventilation tubes knitted into the garment. The new product follows Prada's splashy foray into space fashion in 2024 with the unveiling of a space suit that is expected to be used for NASA's anticipated Artemis 4 moon landing in 2028. Prada's push comes against a backdrop of a struggling luxury goods sector. After 2 years of contraction, the industry was showing signs of stabilization until the Iran war began at the end of February, disrupting travel and denting luxury spending far beyond the Middle East. Other fashion and apparel companies have also jumped on the space bandwagon. Under Armour has partnered with spaceflight company Virgin Galactic to create space apparel, while Columbia Sportswear has worked with space exploration company Intuitive Machines on space fabric technology.
And that's all we have for you right now. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more news updates. Have a good day. Goodbye.